Hello and welcome to the Atlantic Sim Racing League. We are back with another round, round 7. We're here tonight at Charlotte Motor Speedway Roval. Joining me in the booth tonight, we have Thomas back with us.
Hello, how you doing? I'm back from Spa. I'm so sorry for missing last week. I would have commentated if logistics allowed for it, but I was in a home with like 14 other people. So yeah, unfortunately, I didn't have my laptop with me. But rest assured, I'm back for the long term. No more random motorsport holidays until September. So I'm good to watch the next few weeks of what is sure to be. I mean, we know it's sure to be some good racing because every week it gives us good racing. I know last time I was on here, we had the BMW M2 Cup with the new cars that just got released at the time. We're back with by popular demand, the main series here on the Atlantic Sim Racing League, of course, the Toyota GR Cup cars, the GT3 cars. So all the guys you're familiar with are here. We've got Nate Campbell, we've got Tristan Richards. We've got the man with the surname of Champion, Jake Champion, which is, the greatest surname I've ever seen.
And we actually saw Nate Campbell come off a win last week.
Yeah, we did.
Daytona.
We did. Yeah, I missed the Daytona round as well. That was the frustrating bit. But yeah, Charlotte, I think Charlotte is honestly not too dissimilar from Daytona as well. When you look at the layout itself, and the kind of the style of the corners, it's not, the two hairpins you do get are slightly higher in the speed, but it kind of is pretty similar to Daytona in terms of the way you drive it. It's still got that chicane, the few chicanes actually as well, but other than that, pretty similar. As we look at Jeremy Mazarolo, who I think is one of the newcomers to the league this week, or since I've returned from the weekend. We've got a slightly bigger GR Cup field, I want to say this time around, 1.3k in the strength of field. Here is Jeremy Mazarolo, and then there's Adam Benoit as well. We've seen so much of him over the last couple of weeks. Nicholas Munn there as well, trying to set an improved time in what I think is. We're underway at qualifying. It's 20 minutes of qualifying instead of a 40-minute race. Well, I feel like it's longer. Maybe I'm just remembering things.
You have got it. We're going for 40 minutes here.
It is 40 minutes. Hey, I got it right. Okay. Still got it. But yeah, I think you look at the field we've got here this week. I'm trying to let me go full screen for a second on my comm side of things. But I'm thinking that we've got a good GT3, we've got a good Toyota Cup field. It's going to be really fun to see what we get this week. I mean, I'll run you through again. It's the first 10 minutes of the session are for the Toyota Cup cars, and the second half of the session is when the overall poll will be decided in GT3. So got that to look forward to. My bitrate on my Discord which is what I'm streaming this from. My bitrate is not so hot for some reason. Either that or I'm just forgetting that it was. I don't know how to improve the bitrate on my end. But for now, it looks like it's a 133.5 for Adam Benoit. We've kind of become accustomed to him being the man to beat in the Toyota Cup machinery this season, whereas GT3, I think we've seen a lot more variety of winners and we've seen a lot more variety of performances. But as we continue to wind down, we're going to have about 2 laps left after this one in these cars. I can just see Adam Benoit wrapping a different livery this week, of course, Nick. He's gone with the well, I can best describe it as the livery of the playmat that we probably all had as kids.
Exactly. I was watching him in practice and just loving it.
Definitely, man. There's Nicholas Munn, by the way, with the Roval livery. We've got some great liveries here in the field, but I think the Toyota Cup cars have got the best liveries, when you look at the ratios. There is Nicholas Munn running Sponsorless this week. Hopefully he can pick up some sponsor over the coming weeks or find some other liveries to run with, but that's still like a combination of the green and white. I believe I might be exposing myself with my bad geography knowledge, but I believe Norfolk Island has a flag. That is a Canadian or related to Canada in some way, I think. Can you confirm that whether that's true or not, Nick?
Sorry, just repeat that for me.
Is Norfolk Island, is that related to Canada in any way? Because I know the flag of Norfolk Island, which is the British tree, and then the green and the white. But I feel like it's got something to do with Canada. I'm not entirely sure though.
I can't say I've seen it. I know. I'm looking in the chat here. Mr. Mayor's saying that he's one of the KMR race room drivers, so he's most likely from New Brunswick.
Okay. There, by the way, is a New Zealand livery, which is awesome to see. I do love the New Zealand kind of vibes. So much sporting heritage over there. Now I'm gonna have, yeah.
How are we doing in the chat tonight, folks? Who are we here to represent?
Yeah, get in the chat there, because I've got to say that's one thing that sets the league apart, is the way you guys are always in chat, always providing us with entertainment, always giving us thanks as well. Though we're not seeking it, but you guys are amazing what you give us in the chat. Now, it's a shame because the bit rate, for some reason, my Discord is playing up tonight. The way to give you a little bit of behind the scenes, I watch a Discord stream of everything that you're seeing with all the fancy graphics and everything to help me in the commentary, and Nick does the same, I guess, because he's joined the booth now, which is a brilliant thing. But it means I can't properly read the Discord, the YouTube chat,
Should
in
be,
the way I was
should be
able to.
marginally better now.
Okay. Yeah, no, it hasn't really gotten better. I think it's because I don't pay for Nitro, so I'm not able to access the higher bit rate.
See if I can make it bigger for you.
Okay. Everything else I can see kind of fine. Oh, there you go. That works. That works. There we go. Oh, it's immediately just gone again.
So we're here in the last minute of our GR qualifying. We're gonna have the GT3s take the track real soon.
Oh yeah, I can't wait for that. We've seen some great qualifying battles in the past with these guys. Betty Rich saying not seeing anything about Canada in regards to Norfolk Island. I will. Well, if you guys can keep digging and just see if there anything if what the story of Norfolk Island actually is, that'd be brilliant as the night goes on. But rest assured, next week I will know what Norfolk Island is, because I will educate myself. And now there we see the GR86 Cup cars just heading into pit lane, as the GT3s will take to the track. In fact, they are already doing so. Here is Nate Campbell in the BMW. That we've seen him run so much at the front this season. I don't know whether we have Matt Campbell in here, who was always well, he won the last race I commentated, which is the Lion Rock event, and he just sort of dominated that one. Whether there's any more competition, there's the Corvette I always love, from Jacob Durden in the AWA one delivery that they took to Le Mans, representing Canada. There's Jake Champion, it seems to be, I think, the man who's gotten out. Oh no, there's one car, a couple of cars ahead of him. I think it is Nate Campbell, who's led the field away by virtue of his pit box, and that could come into play later on when we do have the pit stops. That will come in later.
And in our GR86 class, we saw Benoit take pole position there once again.
Yeah, Adam Benoit takes pole. Actually, that's a good point. I forgot to read them out. So the top four, I think there might only be 4 cars in the race this week. At the very least, there's 4. Adam Benoit with a 1:33.1. So 1.2 seconds quicker than Nicholas Bunham in number 13, who in turn is 1.2 seconds faster than James Barrington. And then you've got Jason Mazzarola in the 1:35.7. So not quite as close as we normally get in that class, but I think that is just due to there's a couple of rallycross events on in the actual real life region in the Maritimes in Canada, so that might be affecting our grid size this week. You know, real life motorsport dragging races away from their iracing duties. But no, it should be good this week. I think in fact that's the first win for the Ferrari. I love the Marlboro livery, by the way. I'm not a smoker myself, but I always appreciate a livery from Marlboro because of their heritage. We've got an American flag livery on the Porsche. We've got, I think that's a Wex livery for the McLaren as well, from the United Autosports guys that ran. Indeed. There is Nate Campbell. These guys are on their first proper flying laps now, so we're going to start to see the times posted as he comes into the chicane. And there is Sean Perry just leaving the pits. So whether he's let himself get that kind of that free air, whether that was an intentional decision, we'll have to wait and see. Here's Jacob Durden. There is a bit of traffic building towards that kind of exit of the infield. Here's Jake Champion. The lap times are starting to be set. I think that's a 1:21.6. No, it's 1:21.0 for Nico Grinham in the Corvette ahead of Tristan Richard. Then it's David McLeod and Carl Scott. And then it's Tyler Richard even. In this is the moment of the 1:24.3. Now, there's an element of slipstream here, which is quite crucial, because if you get in the slipstream of another car, that is going to shave a couple of attempts off your lap easily. So we see it very occasionally in real life, where just drivers are so hesitant to go because they all want to be in each other's slipstream. I mean, I'm talking about F1, and of course there was that time in Monza where it happened a few years ago. But I think for the most part, everyone's going to be quite orderly about it. There's a lovely Pokemon livery on that Ferrari. Can't quite tell. I think that's Nathan McDonald here. This is Andrew Sutherland in the Marlboro Ferrari that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah, and that's actually a custom livery. It matches not only his Discord name, but his Instagram as well.
Oh, wow. That's brilliant. We've got custom liveries in here. You know, I've always wondered about doing liveries because one of the stories that I haven't told yet, and I remember last night, or not last night, but last time I was on air in the booth, I was telling everybody that I was doing the Watkins Led 6 hours. I think it might have been some contact, possibly, or at the very least, a send from Nate Campbell there. Not Nate Campbell, sorry, Sean Perry. That's the little ticker on the bottom of my screen getting me all confused. But yes, so I think I can now tell you the story of how our Watkins Glen 6 hour race went a couple of weeks ago, because I remember the night before I was on here talking to you guys about it and that. So we did 2 splits in the end, just as qualifying is wrapped up. We've got 5 minutes left. I'll sneak the story in. We did 2 splits. Well, I did 2 splits. The first split was an absolute disaster because we ran out of 2. I nearly overslept and missed the race entirely, which is not great. And then when I got in the car about an hour in, we had some tech issues on the guide that basically iracing crashed when my teammate pulled in. We were running it as a team of 2. iracing crashed at the first pit stop, meaning I couldn't actually get in the car. And then when I eventually did get in the car, when it all sorted itself out about 5 minutes later, I had the most horrendous force issues, and my wheel seemed to think it was in a different position. So it, basically, I was having to counter steer to go straight, like you would in an IndyCar at Indy. So I did that for about an hour or 2. Then pulled into the pit when I crashed 3 times. I couldn't tell what the car was doing, so I crashed a lot. I then spent about 3 hours solving the issue, and it still hasn't been fixed, as I say this now. And then in the second split we did is we see David McLeod and the Porsche running with a really, really strong field actually this week. Nate Campbell and Tristan Richard actually have got it down into the only guys so far to get it into the 18s. With Jake Champion there, then it's or Tyler Richard even. Mason McDonald, Sean Perry, David McLeod, Carl Scott. Jacob Durden's gone 4th faster than his Corvette. Here he is, in fact. And there's Jake Champion as well. But the first bit about Watkins Glen 6 hours was an absolute nightmare. And then, and this is where I brought up the livery thing, because I designed a custom Cadillac livery because we were running the Cadillac GPP in the second split. So I designed a custom livery for it, which you can probably find on trading pages if you search it up. But we kind of started dead last, We ran like 7 laps in the first stint before a massive pileup took out like half the GT3 field. Like there were about 12 cars running, and by the end of like lap 8, there were only about 6 cars left in contention. We were one of them. And then slowly over the next 2 hours, cars kept crashing out in GTP to the point that we were running second about 2 hours in, and we were coming up to the not the last kind of hairpin, but the one before that, basically. So I think that's turn well, I'm going to say it now, turn 6, 7. I'm not saying that deliberately. I think it genuinely was that corner. And the leader hit a GT3, crashed out. Then I was leading overall in the Watkins Centre Towers, in what was only like second successful event ever on iRacing. I ran around for 7 more laps, and then I got taken out by a GT3. If I say I got taken out, I think there's been somebody potentially going into the barriers there. You can see the smoke trail. I had to basically ran into the back of the GT3 because they moved at the last second, and it all got very messy. But oh well. We dropped like third from there, and I had like a 10-minute crash, not crash out, but 10-minute island for me. I know that that's probably not like cost of the race, which it ended up doing. We came second by 3 laps, but that still was an overall podium for me and my mate. So yeah, that was a pretty cool experience in the end. Would have been lovely to win it, of course, but you know, can't complain with the P2. So. With a 1 minute and 30, there's like basically 1 lap left for each of these guys. It's still Nate Cameron at the top as Tyler Richards goes up to 5th. I can see this looks like a really strong field because most of these guys are running in the 19s or or high 18s. So yeah, I did have quite the Avenger Golden Eagle. It's good to see you in chat as well. I remember you were in chat for the Lime Rock race, so it's awesome to see you still supporting the team. But yeah, we got the P2 in the end, which I was very happy with. It was the first overall podium for our team at any special event this year, which was very, very cool. Members of our team have like gotten wins and stuff before. We had one of the guys, basically the team owner, got P2 in LMP2 in his split the Majors 24 last year. We had another Majors 24 class winner from last year's race as well. So we've got a lot of experience in our team. And then there's me, who has now got some kind of result, which I can shout about. So that's cool. But yeah, we're coming up to the end of qualifying here, Nick. It looks like it's Nate Campbell, who's kind of on a roll at the moment. But you can see there Jacob Durden in the Corvette. And then you got Tristan Richard and John Perry. In the absence of Matt Jones, it's kind of opened up the field, really, hasn't it?
Yes, it really has. I'm happy to see Durden up there. Haven't seen some strong qualifies out of him, but that's really good for him. So we're happy there.
Yeah, definitely. Good to see some Tristan Richard and John Perry as well. Like, whoa, goodness me. That's an example of what happens when you hit the curb too aggressively from Nate Campbell there. I guess he can afford to do it because he's on pole, basically, unless Tristan Richard can do anything about it, roaring down towards the final chicane. Is also David McLeod taking I think that inside curve on the rough top is kind of could cause a few incidents in this one. We just saw from Nate Campbell what happens when you just launch over it, and then David McLeod as well, nearly rolling his car. As interestingly enough, Tyler Richard has changed his livery since I was last in the booth. He's running the All-American flag livery, I presume, because it's the 4th of July. Well, it's the 4th of July right now, in fact. It's the very early hours of the 4th of July.
Only for
me,
you.
at least. Only for me, of course. You guys are behind, so I'm kind of time traveling there. America is 250 years old as of today. I do, but wait, that is the whole point, right? America, but this is exposing my lack of history knowledge. Like, America became America, or the USA became the USA on July 4th, right?
I mean, I believe so. We came Canada on July 1st, so happy Canada Day, by the way, out there to all the Canadians in the chat.
Canada Day, cool. Yes, we love Canada. You guys have been amazing at the World Cup, by the way. I saw your last-minute goal against South Africa. It's like, you guys have been doing an amazing job of hosting it so far.
It was pretty incredible.
Yes. Yeah, happy Canada Day. Wait, but did you win? No, you didn't win your knockout game on Canada Day, right? Was it July 2nd or July 1st that you beat South Africa?
I gotta say, I follow racing a lot closer than I do soccer.
I'm figuring that out right now because I've been kind of just following the World Cup on and off, and the various stories. But qualifying is done, so I will let you know what day it was when Canada beat South Africa. I think it was July 2nd. Um, but to run you down through the grid, then we have, of course, Nate Campbell on pole position yet again. Jacob Durden slotted into P2 eventually in the Corvette. We've got Tristan Richard down. Well, I say down there. He's up there in third, sharing the second row of the grid with Sean Perry. Nico Grimm and Jake Champions will start fifth and sixth. Tyler Richard up to seventh, alongside the best place Ferrari of Mason McDonald, who is a bit of a newcomer to the series, but he's doing a really good job so far. Then David McLeod to Porsche and Carl Scott to McLaren before Andrew Sutherland, brand new newcomer to this series, will start 11th. And I believe it's Charlie French Hoyt in the Lamborghini. So
Yes, Cameron French. He's actually going to be taking over for Renee.
Yes. Oh, Cameron French. Yes, of course. Renee French, Lamborghini. How can I forget? So it's Cameron French taking over for Renee, standing in for Renee this weekend. We'll head Canon. They're both Lamborghini factory drivers for this week, just for fun. So Cameron French, we've seen what his brother can do. Well, I don't know if it's brothers or father or son or what. I presume it's brother.
Will do.
Related being will do. Related being the other French. We've seen what Renee French can do. He's had some really solid results and really solid races so far, and now it's the turn of Cameron French. So him and Lamborghini this week. Could we see some more good stuff from him? Hopefully that is the hope. Here is the field that is kind of swamping the Porsche safety car at the moment. But I think, why not? You've got the space, you may as well use it, as long as that Porsche remains ahead. Oh, goodness me. I mean, Nate Campbell clearly taking advantage of the fact you can phase through it as the GR86 cars. It is indeed just the four of them. Kind of having to try and catch up at least. Does seem the GT3s are holding a bit more of an orderly line so far on this kind of paced lap. But when you look at what we're going to be seeing today, I imagine that holding that slipstream, having that slipstream, is going to be so crucial. We're using a slightly altered version of the infield here at Charlotte as well, so you've got that kind of hairpin corner. It's going to be so crucial to get good exits from that and both chicanes. Watch for many incidents, or watch for many overtaking opportunities and overtakes into turn one. Those first few corners are going to be very big hazard spots for the drivers to navigate through, because we've got a very big field this week. Looks like we've got about 12 drivers in GT3. As we mentioned, real life going on in the Maritimes in Canada, so probably stolen a few of the regulars away, but I can't really blame them. Rallycross is a brilliant sport, even if we'd all really appreciate them staying over.
Of course.
But hey, if you can go and see real life Rallycross, you should, because it's a brilliant sport. And I've been watching some of the European Rallycross Championship, which is live on YouTube. Not of course promoting a competitor to us, but it is a good product. But I think it's a really fun product. So when you agree next. So here we go then.
Yeah, come around the final corner.
All right, we're ready to go racing. Here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, 40 minutes to go, a pit stop on the way. The pace car pulls and they've got a chicane to navigate. So it's all the question now of when does Nate Campbell put his foot to the floor. It is Charlotte Motor Speedway. The revs are rising and we're underway. The Atlantic Racing League. Nate Campbell immediately goes into the leader. I think there's been some contact further back in the field. That's Carl McLaren just falling a bit there. He's dropped to the back of the field. Here's Nate Champion. We're all screaming to behind Sean Perry. We're trying to hold on to that place. Yes, it was Carl McLaren, and I think that's also the Ferrari of Andrew Sutherland. But it is so far then Nate Campbell, who's into the distance already. Jacob Durden having to go defensive against Tristan Richard, who was hot on his heels so far. They're starting to open up the gap already to get into it. It just shows how competitive it is. There's contact between Sutherland and Carl Scott and McLaren, so it almost gets very much worse for these guys. There was actually the other Ferrari as well. I think that was Mason McDonald. Yes, it was. His Pokemon Ferrari was also involved in that kind of coming out of the chicane. There was a bit of contact there. Those three are demoted to the bottom. We haven't actually seen Cameron French in the Lamborghini yet. I potentially think he might have not actually. There's side by side contact between Tristan Richard and Jacob Durden. They've managed to hold it together, so they've managed to stay out of trouble. I thought they would find trouble with the way they were banging doors through that final chicane, through that final oval section. Here's Nico Grillen, who's sizing up a move on, or trying to size up a move on Jake Gavin. But of course, it is kind of hard to overtake on the inside. If you can get a good run out of the bus stop or into the bus stop and just force your way through, use a bit of elbows out racing and get past, you can absolutely do that round here. It's a very much a track where you can overtake. I think we've been seeing a bit of that already today, but it is very much, you can see there Jacob Durden having to go defensive from Tristan Richard, who's all over the back of him. He's gone wide, in fact. The Canadian man has gotten very, very wide to that final part of the corner. Potentially he might have gone on the dust and had to just slow down to avoid spinning out. Maybe there was contact as well, but the answer is Tristan Richard is up into second place. Jacob Durden's got some work to do then as he slots in behind Jake Champion, trying to get back into that P2, which he's earned the Corvette in this race, running 5th and 6th at the moment. It is still Durden who managed to stay ahead of Nico Grinham, but he's got Grinham and he's got this final Richard as well, all over the back of him. So these three forming quite a good battle back. In fact, you can see, Nick, the slipstream with Tristan Richard's block. He may well be sizing up a move into the chicane.
We see lots and lots of cheeky stuff out of him, so very well could.
Yeah, wasn't able to go for it that time as Jake Champion. They're all so close together, but they're almost all being kept up behind Tristan Richard, who's got past the Corvette now, but he's almost holding these guys up, being the cork in the bottle. And what that is allowing Nate Campbell to do is to break away from the field. You can see it on the map. He's got a few seconds of a gap. Actually, I think something's happened to Andrew Sutherland, because you can see on the mini-map that he's quite a way back from the field. There's very much two groups of GT3s currently in this one. And something also happened to Adam Benoit as well. The pole sitter has also had some kind of a trouble. You can see that he is very much behind the other three drivers in the class. He's actually at the rear of the GT3, but he's in danger of getting lapped if he makes another mistake. So there's already been quite a lot of drama in both classes so far. We're on board now with Jake Champion, who has the fast stuff of the early runnings here. You can see how they just cut that part of the chicane so much. It gives them the opportunity to get the slipstream down to the final chicane. I think Sean Perry's going to be okay here, but he's running third. Tristan Richard has managed to break away from this field, but we're riding on board with the Mercedes man then as we go to start the fourth lap of this race. He's going to have a look on the inside into turn one, but Perry's wise to it, will stay ahead for now, shuts the door, make sure he can stay ahead. Williams also all over the back of the other Corvette of Jacob Durden, who hasn't quite been able to find his way through the field so far. They can still see Tristan Richard, who's starting to break away. So I think the battle really now is between these four and Sean Perry. We've seen him consistently up in these kind of positions. We've also seen Jake Champion up in these kind of positions as well. So, I mean, I can't pick a third place man out of these four at the moment, Nick.
No, that would be a tough one. These guys are always battling for third, fourth, and fifth. These guys are always super close.
Indeed, we know what Jake Champion can do. I think our motto that we decided to give him a few weeks back was that whatever happens in the race, he'll always make it entertaining. He's doing so now, almost flipping the wall on the exit of the corner there. He's going to have another slipstream run up towards Sean Perry, who will try and break the toe half and half. I don't think he's going to have another chance into the chicane now, because Perry's going to get quite early on the brakes, almost brake checks the Mercedes going through that chicane there, but he's managed to hold it up and stay ahead. Tristan Richard is just getting away ever so slightly. Each lap he's increasing that gap to these two, who are still squabbling over third. We've also got the Corvettes of Nico Grinham and Jacob Durden. They're battling for this as well. I think actually Grinham started to fall off the back of it a bit, of what is now becoming a battle of three, as Tyler Richards is closing in on him. I can see on the timing screens. Meanwhile, in the GR86 Cup car, you can see that it's Nicholas Munn who's got the fastest lap of the race by about 2 seconds. And indeed, he is storming away from the field. He's got an advantage of nearly 9.5 seconds over James Barrington, who's been ever present in that class so far since it's the first race of the season. As we look at the class leader there, Nicholas Munn. All he's seriously got to do then is kind of just stay where he is, because even 9.5 seconds is going to take quite a while to catch back up, as we focus once again on Jake Champion. It's the third time now he's found himself in this position, but he's found himself in a much better position as someone on the inside of the I can't quite tell that in. I think they're passing with GR86 Cup cars. They are indeed. There he's on the outside line. He's going to have a look. Not quite will force Stormberry over the curling and wide. He's not really getting much of an advantage. He's not going to have a place back. But this also opens the door up to Jacob Durden. This could be his chance in the number 13 Corvette. I don't know whether he's going to be able to quite do it on this lap. I think Jake has just about survived that one. It's just Richard and Nico Grinham having their own battle, and indeed those cars you saw on the banking that the GT3s were streaming past were indeed GR86 Cup cars. There's there's contact has gone on there between Sean Perry and the Corvette, and Perry nearly comes back into one of the GR86 Cup cars. Goodness me, that is the fight for third, and Jacob Durden started P2. He's now down to what is about P7, and goodness me, whatever happened there. Sean Perry is back in the pit. I wish we could get a full replay of what happened there, Nick. But that is the absolute drama. Oh no, David McLeod's got it as well. I do not believe this.
It looks like he's trying to rejoin.
Yeah. We know the Porsche has a very, 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 very tail-happy rear end. It's always a threat that could happen out of a corner like that. But we've just seen it from David McLeod, who was running about 7th in the race. So he was having quite a strong run. What this means now is that Jake Champion's got a completely free one. Oh no, there's contact. There's more contacts. Oh dear me. Mr. Richard, Tyler Richard even now is getting to the back of Nico Grinham. I wonder whether there was red involved there. I mean, indeed, they were both going through that corner very slowly. Here's Carl Scott then, who's in 7th place after all this mess. He's had a completely fine race so far. Trying to chase down Mason McDonald, who's up to 6th actually, after that kind of contact in the first out of the chicane as they're just finishing the pace lap. Carl Scott in the McLaren there and trying to get back at him as goodness me, Jake Champion meanwhile is closing up on Tristan Richards. So it's all kicking off here at Charlotte Motor Speedway, Nick.
It really is. We're seeing contact all over the field.
And here he goes, Jake Champion on the inside. They're almost going to both miss the corner. The Champion is now and he goes all the way through. I think he's not the move on. Well, good man, I'm looking at it because it was a very, very aggressive one into the bus stop chicane, but he got past. Whether it was fair or not, whether he left Tristan Richard enough room is up for debate, really. But the fact is, he's through the second place. Nate Campbell, as he always does, is top of the distance. You can just see him at the front of the shot there going through turn 1. He's a good while, in fact, that isn't even just to illustrate the speed of Nate Campbell. The car I thought was him is actually the 10th place winner. That is actually Andrew Sutherland's Ferrari. So already the BMW man, who's become such a formidable force in this series, is putting GT3 traffic between himself and Jake Champion. In fact, there is the Ferrari of Andrew Sutherland. It's a shame for him that he's had a poor race so far. He's obviously been involved in some kind of contact. I wasn't able to get a replay of what happened, but hopefully for his sake, he can find himself some pace and get back. He's still on the lead lap from what I know. No. So, he should still be on the lead lap from what I know. Or at least that's what timing's saying. So, yeah, it's been a very chaotic couple of laps here. Here is Carl Scott still trying to chase down Mason McDonald's Ferrari, who's been on a bit of a charge since that first lap incident, has all Scott maybe almost getting it slowed down a bit too much in the corner. He's lost momentum through the second part of the bus stop. Here is Jake Champion, who's just trying to slowly increase his gap to Tristan Richard and give himself that breathing room he will no doubt want before he can start getting his head down and focusing on what is now a 7-second gap or thereabouts to Nate Campbell up ahead. So he's got a he's got quite a gap to get back and claw back from the BMW man. He's yet to have a win in the series, but what do we say about him every week? He makes things interesting. So maybe this week he can make it interesting by challenging Nate Campbell, who's kind of gone unchallenged really since about the first couple of weeks when he was involved in a couple of incidents and had things go against him. When he doesn't have anything go against him, Nate Campbell is an absolute force to be reckoned with in this league. So Jake Champion's got a lot of work to do to try and catch him. The gap is now reading 7.7 seconds. So I wonder whether it was just updating itself a little bit more.
Except I'm seeing a black flag for Jake Champion there.
Oh, there is something on the timing. There's a black flag for Jake Champion. Now, that would be a track limit warning. So he obviously has, according to the stewards, been a bit too liberal with the track limits he's done so far. And now he's serving it. So whether this is to get rid of a penalty that's come with it, normally it's just a... when you get a black flag, it's normally just a... just a sort of slow down penalty, but I think he might have got a drive through here for his troubles. He's in the pits now. He's certainly not going to, and then now he is going to pit, I think. No,
yeah, I believe all of our penalties here are drive through.
Okay, I thought for a second that he was going to pit because he pulled into the transition lane. Instead, that is a horrible thing for Jake Champion. We are 13 minutes into this, and he's already got himself a drive-through penalty. That's realistically blown his shot at the win. He's still scoring himself in P5, so maybe there's a bit of a commentator's curse there, but I didn't see him using too many track limits, but obviously that's what the stewards have decided to hand him with. Here is Jeremy Mazzaroli, so there's actually a really good battle going up here on in the Toyota Cup class for P2, which is James Barrington and Jason Mazzaroli. So Mazzaroli just sliding up, trying to get a bit more of a run towards the chicane in what actually that's helped Barrington just stay ahead for the moment going through the chicane. Behind them is, I say behind them, Adam Benoit is 35 seconds back. So something's obviously gone on with him, whether it's a contact with the GT3 or whether he's had to do his own. We yet to find whether he's even just taken a pit stop. We don't quite know as Tristan Richard stormed past them so far. Oh no, goodness me, that was James Barrington nearly just crossing into the path of the P3 man Tristan Richard, yet to have a podium in this league in the Gainsbridge. Well, it's quite a few sponsors really. It's a Chili's, Gainsbridge, Aston Martin, which I can tell you actually, that's the one thing I will say, having been at Spa last week, there is an almighty rumble that comes from that car in real life. It's got a very deep sound. It's kind of like with the Mercedes, but I'd say the Mercedes is more of a rumble than a deep, throaty growl, which is more what the Aston Martin is. My favourite of them, if you're wondering, is the Ford. It's just a brilliant car. I didn't expect it to be so loud when I went there actually, but it was. And I enjoy kind of both of those as being the loudest cars that were there, and the Ford I've always loved the Ford GT3 ever since it came to the track first in 2024. Here is this battle for P2 we've been looking at, Jeremy Mazzaroli and James Barrington.
And last week we saw Jeremy being used as a bit of a missile by Rene French actually in the GT3 class. So I'm excited to see what he has to give us.
Yeah, whether there is more kind of carnage in that kind of sense, we'll have to wait and see. But so far, it's been a pretty strong outing from the GR86 Cup car guys. I think that the bar which was set at Sebring for what this class can provide, I don't think it will quite be met here. I think I have to say that Adam Benoit gets the fastest lap of the race by almost 1.1.5 seconds. A cool 1.5 seconds quicker than everybody else in that class. As Carl Scott now might have his move on because he's going to the outside line of Andrew Sutherland. Not quite, sorry, Nathan McDonald even. But it is in the Pokemon Ferrari. Who's going to get the better exit out of the two of them? I think it's a little bit close here from the McLaren man there, who's lost a lot of time on the exit of the corner. Nathan McDonald's going to have a nice strong gap for Carl Scott to try and track down. Now, he's going to be in the slipstream, Mr. McLaren, but I don't think he's going to be able to make any kind of a move going down into that corner. Indeed, he isn't. So what he needs is a really strong exit as we cut back to this battle for P4, which is Nico Grinham, P3 even, which is Nico Grinham closing in on Tyler Richards, sorry. So I'm not sure. Oh, sorry, just to update you guys, I think because of the Jake Champion incident, there'll be incidents that have gone ahead. It is Tristan Richard in P2 by 10 seconds back to Nathan Campbell. It is then Tyler Richard, who's up to third place overall. He's got past Nico Grinham. He's up to third, with Nico Grinham, the best placed Corvette, now in fourth. Jake Champion's already, despite that penalty, he's already up to fifth. And that is completely legit because the pit stops haven't happened yet. So he's obviously going to have to pit at some point, but he's still be fifth after that penalty. Is a really, really solid effort so far. Sean Perry down there in 8th after the contact. He's a lap down, so I presume there's been some sort of fast. We do actually have a fast repair in this league, so he might be a fast repair. But the draw for what he's taken, then it's Andrew Sutherland, David McLeod, and Jacob Durden. So a minute back from the next start, my weekly yawn in because it is 2:15 in the morning over here in the UK.
Hey, I mean, if someone's here in the chat, I'm sure they know about your yawns. That's why they come here.
Yeah, my yawns are legendary. Indeed. So here is Carl Scott storming through, trying to get that ultimate to just, again, that's an interesting point actually, is that I think because the GT3s are so kind of similar in performance levels and the driving standards are so close, it's actually quite hard to get the slipstream you need to make a move in that final game. We haven't really seen it happen so far this week or this race. But here is Nico Grinham doing everything he can to try and get past the Porsche of Tyler Richard. He needs a good couple of runs out of these last few corners. I think he might have a slight run on the Porsche. In fact, I think he does have a run on the Porsche out of that corner, but it's a matter of what can he do in the bus stop and can he maintain that momentum gain on Tyler Richard. Same deal really for these guys, Carl Scott and Mason McDonald, in the same kind of psychological battle to get the better exit over each other. As Nathan Campbell, Nate Campbell even, to just update you on the standings there, he's 11 seconds to the good of Tristan Richard, with Tyler Richard still in third, and Nico Grinham still trying to chase him down with that podium place in fourth. Jake Champion, meanwhile, is just 2.6 seconds behind these two. It's absolutely incredible from Jake so far this week. To have a twice penalty and still be effectively 4 seconds off not even 4 seconds off a podium, just like 3 seconds off a podium. It is incredible stuff. But here is Nico Grinham. I think he's closing up just a little bit over the infield stretch, but I think the Porsche might have the straight line speed in this one, you know. It is simply all about the corner exit, isn't it, Nick?
On this track, definitely. Could be the deciding factor here.
Absolutely. Here is our onboard with Corvette. It is a lovely sounding car, both in the simulator and in real life. It's very big, kind of high-pitched buzz, but it does, and it's actually the loudest of all the GT3s by some margin. I noted the Ford might have the deep rumble that gets you can feel the vibrations of, but in terms of pure loudness, the Corvette takes it when it comes to what I saw at Spa. And it is a good car in general as well. Here is that battle then between Carl Scott, who's still behind Mason McDonald Ferrari. These two having fought their way up from the back of the field, having had that contact, or what we presume was contact, in the very first corner, coming out of the chicane even, of that first part of the race. There is Andrew Sutherland just getting out of the way of Jake Champion and this battle, which is, I presume, going to come become a three-way battle in a couple of laps' time. It is, as like, just to confirm again, it's Tyler Richard ahead of Nico Graham, ahead of Jake Champion.
And we
actually
could very see Jake catch up there and make it that three-way battle.
I think it definitely will be in a couple of laps' time. The way he's got the pace, but now it's just a matter of when that dirty air hits, can he keep it up? Can he still find the extra lap time that he needs to get past those guys? He's really closing up in the those braking zones. I think that's where he's getting his time, and he's getting good corner exits as well. With him again unable to really do anything against the Porsche up ahead. For the moment, here is another on board with Jake Champion. He tries to get his way past him. Goodness me, that's where. Oh, goodness me, that was close. We talk about traffic every week, and how even though there's only 4 cars in the field, it's still potential. There's still potential for kind of incidents like that to happen, where it can really affect your race. We just saw that in action as Nico Graham had to really slow down through the corner. His corner exit out of the chicane was really hampered by the GR86 Cup car that was there. And Nico Graham, I don't know if he lost out to Jake Champion in the end. Champion's still being scored as well. He's being scored as 34 laps down according to timing. I don't think that's quite the case. But Nico Graham is running solo now. He's lost a lot of times at the Porsche. You can see the gap that's there. I wonder whether there was contact between Jake Champion and the GR86 Cup car, because I can't see him with Nico Graham anymore.
No, he's not showing up on the timing screen here. He's saying he's out. So he could very well have tapped him a little too much.
Yeah. We knew that was going to be an incredibly tight call. I, for one, thought he might have made it. But by Jacob, oh no, this is a Ferrari. I think that might be Ferrari contact.
And that's Andrew Sutherland, our new driver.
Yeah, it's Andrew Sutherland, the new driver here, who was already having quite a poor first race, quite an unfortunate first race. And now I don't know whether that was contact with the Ferrari behind, or whether that was merely him losing it over the curves. We've seen that in qualifying, where drivers can just take those curves too aggressively at the bus stop, and it just plays out horribly wrong. Either way, he's in the barriers. I wonder whether we continue, because that Ferrari is built a bit like a brick at times, with the current damage model on iracing. So whether he's continued on, it looked like a pretty decent impact though. So I wonder whether he has. What we can confirm is that Jake Champion is not on the track anymore. So something's obviously happened. I think there must have been contact when he tried to make that move, and you know, I thought he made it. He obviously hasn't. He's obviously suffered damage that's taken him out of proceedings, which is very, very unhappy for him. And we always say this: he makes things interesting, and unfortunately, he made things interesting at the cost of his own race there. Here is Kyle Scott, and still trying to chase down Mason McDonald. It seems to be these two are the closest on track at the moment. But I would love to get a replay of what exactly happened with Jake Champion, because on our screens at least, he made it past the GR86 Cup car. Whether he maybe got caught in turn 1 or something like that, as the first pit stops commence with Mason there pulling into the pits, that gives Kyle Scott the opportunity to really run in some clean air now and lay down the lap times he needs to get this move done. Whether there was contact that we didn't see with Jake Champion there, we won't know until the end of the race. But then we're getting information from what I'm going to call our race control advisor, Jake, Golden Eagle, who's being an absolute legend in the YouTube chat. Jake said in the Discord, the game just DQ'd him automatically. So something's obviously gone on there. Whether there was a penalty he didn't serve, whether there was some kind of glitch within the system, Jake Champion, the reason he is not on track does not appear to be the fact that he crashed or made contact. It seems to be the game simply has a bone to pick with him and has ejected him from the race.
And we did actually see a change in our regulations. So we switched to 15 incidents before a penalty and then 20 before the disqualification. So him serving that penalty to go back to 5th place very well could have been just the deciding factor with only 5 incidents left to go. Hitting the wall, hitting that other GR86, that could have very well disqualified him.
Oh wow, I had no idea about that rule. But yeah, I think you must be right on that. That would make complete sense if that's the case. I mean, to pick up 25 incident points in, let's have a look here. 25 minutes is a pretty major amount of rate of picking them up when you consider that everybody else has pretty much got through without even a drive-through. So I wonder what happened with Jake there. Whether maybe he was just feeling very on it, very aggressive this week, and made moves that gave him those incident points. Whether it was netcode, we don't quite know. But the fact of the matter is, I think that, as you said, Nick, he's probably been disqualified for incident point accumulation there. But equally, that's it, isn't it? You know, you've got to make sure that you're not picking up those incident points, and you've got to race cleanly.
That is one of our pillars here at the Atlantic Sim Racing League. Clean, fast, and fun.
Yeah, I love those 3 words. It always makes for good stuff. I mean, I didn't see that what incident that Jake Champion has got. Whether it was purely off track, I find that hard to believe. But equally, he got 15. I presume there must have been some kind of contact somewhere with it.
I'm not sure if you're seeing this chat here.
There you go, Sudden here. You guys are sugarcoating when you say I'm having a poor first race. Sir, it is your first race, and we love glazing our drivers here at the Atlantic Sim Racing League. You guys are being put out on YouTube. We're doing our best to help you guys get out the best publicity possible. And it's your first time here, so no worries. If you are in the chat, I presume that means you are still racing here, so I'm not quite sure how you're able to type in chat while being.
That is impressive.
Unless he's taking his pit stop. I think he must be taking his pit stop and have YouTube open on the side.
Very well.
And he's just that. I would love it if that was the case. If you're still able to type, what was your viewpoint of the incident in the barriers? Because we joined just too late to see if there was any contact there. So if you could clear that up for us, that would be awesome. But appreciate the it being able to have a bit of self-application.
And he's still typing. Oh, he's in the pits. Okay.
Yeah, he's in the pits right now. Oh, are you dare I say, are you still suffering the consequences of the spin at the chicane there? Are you doing repairs? Is that why you're able to chat? Which we very much appreciate it, by the way. We love it when our drivers pop into YouTube. It's a very rare. It's a rare thing. I don't think we've had it happen before. So it's a world first for you so far. Yeah, serving penalties, and I did not see the incident, but I can take an interview after the race. Well, we'll definitely, if that's possible, Nick, because you are.
So feel free to join the broadcast 3 that Thomas and I are in, and we'll get your point of view on that one.
Yeah, be cool to have a post-race interview. You know, also we massively appreciate you taking your time while you're taking your penalty when you could be getting a coffee or an afternoon snack or just doom scrolling on Instagram, which is what I've done in the past. We really appreciate you being in chat. Any drivers that do, get our approval, and we'll make sure to glaze you even harder next week because we know how much of a legend you are for diving in chat here, getting involved in the broadcast side of things. Here is Sean Perry down in P7, so he hasn't really recovered since the contact with Jacob Durden earlier on in the race. Still running around though, and he's got about 45 seconds behind Mason McDonald. So I think these guys are at this point maybe getting more penalties or has had some kind of spins and stuff like that. Up at the front though, it's Nate Campbell still. We've hardly mentioned his name because he's been that dominant, as has Tristan Richard in second place, 17 seconds behind the BMW. Still the only BMW in the field, which is quite incredible. But it's Tristan Richard's Aston Martin, 17 seconds back. Then he's got a 10-second cushion over Tyler Richard with Nico Grillam just 1.5 seconds behind. So hopefully we can have those two close up a little bit and we can get a bit more on-track action. It's now saying that Tristan Richard is, well, for a moment it's saying he was P1, but I think that's because of a timing error. That's how you pass on the inside, by the way. Really good stuff there. Getting past what I think is... That would be P3 in the class. That's Adam Benoit, who's got his way up past James Barrington recently. I'm not sure how that's happened. Maybe there's been contact somewhere along the line, but Barrington's now a lap down.
I believe during a
Benoit,
pit stop, actually.
or is it a pit stop and the timing's waiting to catch up? Probably that's a pit stop then. So Adam Benoit up to P3, at least for the moment. We'll have to see whether it's a pit stop thing, which it very well could be. 5 seconds back from Jeremy Mazzaroli with a fastest lap over 1:33.3 now. So I think he's shaved a couple of tenths off his existing fastest time as we look at Nate Campbell for the first time all week in the race, at least. So he's set off from the pace, set off from the field. Now he's very much doing what he does best, which is setting down, calming down, and just enjoying, I presume, the next 8 minutes of action, which will see him gain another win in the series. And from there, I think we should be able to update you on the standings as to what that will do for what I presume will be his championship lead, because let's face it, he's been that good every single week he's been here. I think there was 1 week where he wasn't there, and that was when Matt Jones got the win in the Ford, who isn't here this week. But here is Nico Grillim, a regular in the Golf Corvette, which I always point out because it's a brilliant thing to have a golf livery on here, paying homage.
And we just saw Adam Benoit move up a position.
Yes, we did. He's P3, but that gap is now 0.2 seconds. He's taken 5 seconds out of Jason Mazzaroli. I presume that's GT3. In fact, there we go. You might be slightly ahead of me on the broadcast, Nick, because that is Adam Benoit up into P2 in the class as Mazzaroli we are riding on board with now. There's a bit of a blink there from Adam Benoit, but he seems pretty stable now in the connection. So, yeah, there is a move made from Adam Benoit. He's 30 seconds back from Nicholas Munn, who is on course to take his first ever win in the Atlantic Sim Racing League, first win in the class as well. Now, what I haven't quite seen is, and maybe this is just because our attention's been elsewhere, is that I don't think we've seen pit stops yet from the GT3 runners.
Not a whole lot of them. I think I've seen a few here and there, but we'll take a look at the graphic here in a sec.
We will do indeed. The state of play hasn't really changed much. There's Tristan Richard going around the outside of Andrew Sutherland, who gives way. 4 laps down, but he's on the same lap. Never mind. I thought he was on the same lap as Sean Perry there, but that was just the bit rate going against me. So to update you on the top 7, it's Nate Campbell, of course, with the fastest lap in the lead from Tristan Richard and Tyler Richard. So those top 4 really hasn't changed much because Nico Grillim's there in the Corvette. Then it is Carl Scott in the McLaren. So there we go. We can see pretty much everybody who has needed to pit has actually gone and pit. So never mind. We are pretty much running until the flag now. Everybody's kind of pit either lap 31 was when the top 3 all came in, or lap 21 even. Oh no, there's Sutherland. Andrew Sutherland almost stopped out of a chicane there. I was worried he had contact or something, and he was grinding to a final hole. But no, he's managed to continue, which is very, very good news. So he's still running around in his first Atlantic Sim Racing event. So we're only through the rest of that top 7 then. So it's Nate Campbell who leads ahead of Tristan Richard, and then Tyler Richard in 3rd, with Nico Grillim 4th as there. He goes around the outside. Well, actually, I'd say around the outside. He almost had a little bit of a moment and revisited the barriers. Did Andrew Sutherland, but he managed to keep it out that time. Here is Tyler Richard, who we saw in 3rd. In 4th is Nico Grillim, as I mentioned. 5th is Kyle Scott. 6th, Mason McDonald. And that is the last of the guys on the lead lap. Then it is Sean Perry in 7th, who's 4 laps down. Or never mind, 41 seconds down. And then it is Andrew Sutherland, 4 laps down. I wonder, that would be, I presume, penalties and repairs from the incident earlier. And then it is David McLeod, who's 6 laps down in the Porsche. Now, I don't quite know what happened there. Yeah, I don't quite know what happened there at all. No, Sean Perry gets into the back of Andrew there in the Ferrari. That's not really how you want to pass through the bus stop chicane. But he almost was a bit too eager there. And then there's 9 cars running still. Cameron French never actually hit the field, and Jacob Durden, of course, has retired from the race. Goodness me! Oh no, the curbs will strike once again.
That might be the disqualification.
And I think it is a disqualification. We know that Charlotte is a track that attracts off tracks like the plague. And that, I think, was unfortunately saying goodbye to Andrew Sutherland, who becomes the latest man to pick up a disqualification. I think for future rounds, we might have to increase that limit because Charlotte seems to be a bit of a bogey track for a lot of these drivers when it comes to these incident points.
You very well might be right. We put it down because we were seeing lots and lots of incidents, but maybe it was at the right spot.
Yeah. And when you see them, we've got 3 minutes to go. So this race is almost already run its course. As we look at Mason McDonald, he's up to P6 in the Ferrari for the moment. The kind of last leader, Adam Benoit, I think, possibly just pit, or maybe that's just the relative. But I think that is the relative. He has not pit, but he's 29 seconds back from Nicholas Munn, who will, I presume, come home to win that race and win the first class victory for him in the Toyota Cup cars. As we look at Nate Campbell with 3.5 minutes remaining, Nick, it's been another solid drive from Nate Campbell.
It really has. In a race where we've seen 4 drivers drop out, he has been showing us some very consistent stuff.
Absolutely. Adam Benoit, we should give him a shout out as well, because of course he had some sort of an issue early on in this race. He's fought his way back to P2, which is really, really good for him and his championship. Though I think that's probably going his way because of the lower entry field in the class and the fact he's been there basically every week and he's been winning basically every week. If we look back to Carl Scott, who is now running P5, he's disposed of Mason McDonald after having been stuck behind him for lap after lap after lap. And with 2.5 minutes to go, this is the penultimate lap of the, well, it might be one more lap to go, or 2 more laps to go after this one. Right on board with him through the infield section and down into that final chicane. As we look also on there is Nate Campbell, in fact, in P1. So he's coming up to lap P6 on the road, which is Mason McDonald. So just to give you an idea of how good Nate Campbell is, there he is. Mason McDonald gives him the respect, passes over, lets him come on by. And indeed, he's on his way to another race win here. It's been a it's been the most solid of performances. And there is Tyler Richard, who I believe will force his first podium, because Nico Graham only dropped back to 2.8 seconds. So it is just beyond reach, I think, for the Corvette so far, with 1 lap to go. I think it'll be 1 lap to go. It's going to be slightly tight on the timings. And there is Tristan Richard. He's driven a very, very solid race so far, and it absolutely deserves the P2 he's going to get for his chance. And there is once again Nate Campbell. You can see the infield there as Tyler Richard will get P3. That'll be his first podium of the series so far. Aaron Benwell will come home P2, and Jason Mazzaroli on debut will also get himself a podium on the what is now the final lap of the race. Well, there'll be 1 more lap after this, I think, but I'm not quite sure. It might also not be the case. 44 seconds to go. It's a matter of whether Nate Campbell will get there before the race stops. He could theoretically just slow down enough now. He's got enough of a gap really to just bleed up a few seconds and cruise home to the line as they would do in a 24-hour endurance race. But I think he's going to do 1 more lap for the love of the game. He's not showing any signs of slowing up just yet, is Nate Campbell. So it's been a really, really strong performance from him this week. He's going to do another lap because he's got the time to go and do one. So he will come through. He's going, well, it's going to be very, very tight whether he wants to slow down. But nope, he could have easily slowed down there just to take the win and get it across the line. But he's gone for 1 more lap. I think there was about 7 seconds as he crossed the finish line. He's got a gap of 25, so there's it's not necessary that he does this final lap. He could have slowed down and been more than fine on the timing wise, but he's doing 1 more for the love of the game. Here's Nico Grinham in the Corvette. He will be so, I imagine he'll be happy with 4th, but it could have been so, you're probably wondering what could have been, because he's nearly 5 seconds off a podium. as he will finish this one. You can see Tristan Richard up ahead. That'll be the most agonising thing of all, I think, is that you can see the man who is holding the podium spot that you do desperately want. And I don't think I'll be able to do it this time round in this week's league. But as Nate Campbell comes through the bus stop one more time, it's been a very, very fun, very, very good outing here at Charlotte, hasn't it, Nick?
It truly has been. It's been quite an exciting race.
Yeah, so Nate Campbell, he is like Jaws. He is inevitable, so he's like Thanos as well. He's going to come through the final chicane. After 40 minutes of disqualifications, of curb crashes, Nate Campbell sees through it all to take another win in the Atlantic Sim Racing League. Another win for the Lone BMW. Another win for the Imperious number 5. And Nate Campbell will be very, very delighted with that one. Tristan Richard in the only Aston Martin in the field is going to come through the final chicane. It'll be his first podium in this league, in the Atlantic Sim Racing League. So he'll get P2, a brilliant result for him. Second wave on his podium finish. It will be Tristan Richard, or Tyler Richard then, to take P3 on July the 4th, or July the 3rd it is over in Canada, but July 4th it is for me, and that's good enough. Nico Graham, a fine effort for 4th place. Sean Perry then, he might be a lap down on the field, but he'll take 7th place nonetheless. A weekend of what could have been. Adam Benoit will be thinking just the same. 2nd place for him, but it could have been so much more had those issues not affected him early race. Here is the man who is going to win in the GR86 Cup class. It is Nicholas Hunt. Well, I mean, the very famous Hungarian Attila Hunt, who was known for being ruthless to his men back in the, I think the 1500s it was, but in turn it will be Nicholas Hunt, not Hungarian, but very much ruthless on the racetrack. As the burnouts come in, every week we love the burnouts, and Nate Campbell is very familiar to the process of how to do them. There they are then.
Definitely not a rookie at these.
What I was going to say, he's very, very experienced when it comes to these burnouts, and he deserves the chance to do them. Getting the smoke in his tyres. I think he's now decided that he's done with it. No, there you go. I think that one was potentially rather accidentally induced, that little slide there. As you can see, he's turned the traction control off. Is he going to do another hit towards the barriers? Not quite. He's now just in delight, just wheeling it round the grass. I guess giving the groundskeeper some extra work to do. Here are the P2 and P3 runners. There is Tyler Richard, he's going to send it into the barriers for fun that time, hopping over the curb as he does so. As we look back at Carl Scott, what's his post-race tradition? Is it just to pull over on the side of the track? I think it might be, unless he is going to go for some burnouts, and he's sorting through the traction control right now. Nope. Carl Scott's post-race is to just simply return back to the pits. I'm sure he'll be analysing his lap times. There is Jeremy Marazola, who will get a P3 in the GR86 Cup class. So very, very well done job to him. James Barrington, I'm not quite sure what happened to him in the end, but he slipped back from what was almost a class lead at one point to get P4. It is then Jeremy Marizole who will take P3 in the GR86 class. To run you through the rest of the order, it was Carl Scott in 5th, Mason McDonald 6th, Andrew Sutherland in, I think that is 8th place.
Who is
ahead of
actually joining us right now for an interview.
Indeed he is. Should we go to that now?
He's here. We can go into it whenever you'd like.
Yeah. All right. And there's the check that comes out from Golden Eagle as well. We should make Golden Eagle the race director. He's brilliant at what he does. He's brilliant at interacting with us as well in the booth. Andrew, are you there?
Yes, sir, I am.
Hello. How was that?
That for my first race, I'll take it. I absolutely enjoyed every moment of it, minus the disqualification. And I'm going in with a pretty good head as an oval racer. This was a lot of fun, and I'm definitely going to be back here next week for sure.
We love to hear that.
Yeah, we're very glad.
We were pretty curious. What happened in your first incident there, where we saw you go over the chicane into the barrier?
It was a lot of just not being able to apply a whole lot of my brakes, and a lot of it has to do with the sim setup I have. I'm running the G920 with that rubber bushing brake, and it's a lot harder to press down than it is a typical brake pedal on most sim rigs.
100%.
What I did actually when I was messaging you guys was I changed it to my clutch pedal, and that's working a whole lot better because I just run auto clutch anyway.
Smart.
Right.
That is a way to do it. I did that myself on the F1 game. Having to press that brake all the time was killer.
Yeah. Well, I had it as well. When I started racing, I did sim racing. Firstly in about 2019 when I got a wheel and pedals finally for F1 2019, and I tried to do the brake pedal, but it only like did about 20% because it's such a short one, and it's intended for the clutch. The brake pedal that originally the game assigns you to is about 20% throttle. So I've only ever done the clutch to brake method on my wheel. I got new pedals over Christmas, so I've been using that a lot, and it's good to get the feel of it.
Golden Eagle
And
in
as
the
a fellow
chat, you
G920
might
runner,
be right.
it's also cool to have some fellow G920 runners in this league. Yeah, so obviously it's your first race. You mentioned you were more of an oval guy, it seems, but when it comes to but when you're on the oval, of course, you'll have doubtless driven the Charlotte Oval. Does that help you in a way because you kind of know what to do when it comes to being on that kind of half of the track that is oval, and getting the most out of those really long straights?
So it all comes in controlling how you come into the corner, how you approach it. A lot of it comes from ARCA racing and how we manage tires. We have to throttle off going into the corner, throttle out going in. Or, sorry, throttle off going in, throttle on going out of the corner. And keeping that speed on the straightaway. A lot of it is drafting. And you don't get that on the road courses unless you're with somebody. When you're on the oval, it's a lot of tight-knit pack racing, and you're maintaining that speed, you're maintaining that position. Whereas on road, it's kind of, you need to be on the ball or you're going to be in the back.
Yeah, indeed. And you mentioned you had fun. Like what do you think we can expect from you when it comes to the future rounds of this league? Have you got any expectations for yourself going into next week as having a bit more of experience in this league?
No more disqualifications and no more oversteering. For sure.
Good things to take into the next round.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'll let you go. Have a great rest of the broadcast.
Thank you very
You
much.
too.
Thank you for coming out.
Take care.
You too.
And we're seeing James Barrington in here for an interview as well. What does he have to say? Possibly not quite ready there yet, so no worries.
Okay,
we'll
Golden
probably...
Eagle's in chat as well. I will say that Golden Eagle in chat. They say not even the Hercules can put down that pedal all the way down. I do agree. I'm having to. I got new Simpson pedals, and it turns out the pedal that the middle clutch pedal is literally, I can put all my force through my foot, like the full weight of my body on that pedal. It will not move. I need to figure out a way of unscrewing it because it just means that for the moment I can't really do any of my historic sim racing that I like to do because I can't really do a realistic clutch. But no, I understand. I think we all understand the pain of that middle pedal being so hard to press down. But James Barrington then, GR86 runner. Are you there, James?
Maybe not.
Okay.
We will we'll catch him for whatever he has to say before the next race.
Yes.
So tune in 9:30 next Friday, and we'll catch some thoughts from him.
Indeed. For now, my name's been Thomas Groves. We've had Nick. Nick in the booth alongside us doing the. Actually, Nick, are you doing the production this week, or have you found a way of managing it better than? Because I know in the past it was an absolute operation for you to do.
It is. I've gotten a few upgrades for the stream, so we're running a good setup here now, and I'm able to pay a little bit more attention while also keeping things right on. So
Yeah.
good things.
And Golden Eagle, before we go, his D920 brake pedal broke last week, so we'll get the F. We'll make sure next week to hold a minute silence for your broken brake pedal, Golden Eagle. Pleasure having you in the chat as always. But for now, my name's been Thomas Groves. Alongside me in the booth has been Nick. This has been your weekly Atlantic Sim Racing League Friday night iRacing. We'll see you back 9:30 p.m. same time next week. We'll see Golden Eagle back. We'll see all the regulars back, and we'll get more comments. Hopefully from Andrew as well. We'll see what his second race is like. But for now, it's take care, thank you, and goodbye from us here at the Atlantic Sim Racing League.
Thank you all very much for coming out.